Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy.
The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress.
We all have a certain amount of doubt. Nobody can be 100% certain. But here's what you must learn to do. Doubt your doubt.
Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is.
If it was easy, there'd be no Kerry Washington. If it was easy, there'd be no Taraji Henson, Pete Henson. If it were easy, there'd be no Octavia Spencer. But not only that, if it were easy, there'd be no Viola Davis. If it were easy, there'd be no Michael T. Williamson, no Stephen McKinley Henderson, no Russell Hornsby. If it were easy, there'd be no Denzel Washington. So, dreams without goals are just dreams. And they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals.
And believe your belief. I used to be mixed up on that all those years ago. I used to believe my doubt and doubt my belief. And what a sad position that's to be in. Learn to doubt your doubt and believe your belief. It's easy to doubt the future with uncertainty. It's easy to doubt the past will serve you. It's easy to doubt the community. It's easy to doubt the country, doubt the government, doubt the bank, doubt the money. It's easy to doubt each other. And here's the worst one of all. It's easy to doubt yourself. Doubt that you can learn, doubt that you can grow, doubt that you can change.
Don't confuse movement with progress. Remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. In order to achieve your goals, you must apply discipline, which you have already done, and consistency every day, not just on Tuesday and miss a few days. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do. What are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience.
But I'm asking you to turn that around. Drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them conquer you. Believe in each other. Believe in your country. Believe in the community. Believe in the rest of the world and their ability to struggle with the problems and come up with the answer. Believe that things are possible. And here's the most important one. Believe in yourself. Do not doubt your own ability. Don't doubt your ability to change. Don't doubt your ability to grow. Don't doubt your ability to take command. Don't doubt your ability to learn all the skills. Whatever you want, I'm telling you it's all possible. Make this note. None of us lack the capacity. None of us lack the capacity. We have far more capacity than we have time to take advantage of.
Let hell continue to do what it needs to do. But don't give hell all the power. Let hell fire you up. If you're feeling that fire, if it's burning, make sure that the fire that you're feeling inside of you is giving you the ammunition to push, to fight, to dig, to live, to breathe. Make sure you're doing exactly what is necessary. Because without that, you have nothing. Without possibilities, you have nothing. Without faith, you have nothing. What are you going to do? Get up. Fight for it. Believe in it. Find the purpose. Live the purpose. Live the dream. And give it 110% of everything you got. Because hell doesn't own you.
You can eventually turn it, you could eventually become a master of it. The only way to become a master of something is to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you'll find others who are. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like and doing things you don't like.
Wake up from your dream and make your dream a reality. Wake up. Wake up and understand the significance of the purpose that you have within yourself. Understand that if it's something that you are truly ultimately seeking in your life, then you got to go after it. It may be one hell of a night, but hell ain't got time for the best of you. Keep it moving and conduct your business. Look at the world today. Look what's going on around you right now at this moment. I promise you, in the next 5 or 10 years of your life, you will remember this day. You will remember this moment. You will remember the pandemic. You will remember the cries. You will remember the anger. You will remember that there were so many people without a job to go to. You will remember this moment for the rest of your life. Now, here we are. Things are slowly starting to come back. Not saying it's going to happen overnight. There are a lot of people that are sitting around waiting for something to happen. Now, what you going to do about it? How are you going to go about doing the things that are necessary to get you where you need to be in your life? Everybody has a dream. But how much are you applying to that dream? How far are you pushing that dream? When are you going to realize that the dream is not going to work by itself? You got to have the ability to rise up and push yourself and believe in yourself and make that dream a reality.
What's your why? If I don't give y'all nothing else, you better start that. What's your why? You know why I do what I do and I do it so passionately? Because my grandfather was a high school dropout. My father was a high school dropout. I was a high school dropout. And we about to break the cycle. I do what I do so my son won't have to go through what I went through. When I was at the football game, my old dude wasn't with me. I saw other kids with their father. I said, that'll never happen to me.
But there seems to be a little of a light at the end of the tunnel. There seems to be an opportunity now. Now, what are we going to do? Are we going to take it for granted? Are we going to be more responsible? Are we going to be more caring? Are we going to realize that life is beautiful? And now that you have this chance, with all of the circumstances that we have all faced, lives were lost, jobs were lost, people's mindsets are not in the right place. You feel that your freedom has been taken from you. You feel that this chance right now that you have is all you have left, and you want to make the most of it. So what do we do now as a people? Doesn't matter what you believe in, but what do we do now as a people?
The only thing you need to know right now, the point is not to avoid the pain, and you need to stop asking yourself, what's the least you can do to get good? And you need to start asking yourself, what's the most you can bear to become great?
In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena?
The elite performers look at time and use time completely differently than the people who perform at an average level.
Once you understand that the whole point is to let the suffering and the pain harden you into becoming the version of yourself that you need to become in order to execute at the highest level, to be world class at anything, and stop avoiding it, stop being afraid of it, and start understanding for what it really is, which is the thing that shapes you. So my entire youth, I feared pain. I moved away from pain. If something was emotionally or physically difficult, I avoided it. And I remember being in the gym one day going, can you stop asking, like, what's the least you need to do to consider it a full week workout? Because it was like, could I stop now? Could I stop now? Could I stop now? And I was like, do you want the muscles, or do you want to like put on a show that you showed up, like you showed up, right? Like, because the muscles demand what the muscles demand. Like, you have to break them down, you have to push, you have to do more.
This gonna seem weird, but I promise y'all I know what I'm doing. It's gonna seem weird, but I know what I'm doing, okay? I'm old, I know what I'm doing, all right? So put your age in there. Now what I want you to put down is how old you wanna be when you leave this earth. Now here's I don't care what religion, what politics, one thing we all know, we ain't gonna be here forever. There's one thing I can guarantee y'all, you won't be living like, you won't be here 150 years from now. I can guarantee you that. You won't be 150, you won't be here. So the real question is, how old are you? And then how long you want to be on this earth, right? Because here's why this is why this is important. Because if you know you're not gonna be here forever, then you're gonna treat how long you're gonna be here differently. So what happens sometimes when you're young, you think you're gonna be young forever. I feel you, I used to be there. I woke up this morning, I was 51 years old. I was like, man, I'm 51.
Like, so it is purely a question of how much you're willing to bear, because there's never going to be enough. You could have always done more.
Passion is not discovered. It is not uncovered. You are not an archaeologist who is meant to turn in, meditate, and find the thing that somehow has been eluding you your whole life, but is secretly your very mission and reason for existing. And I hope that the very notion of that, when you say it, sounds absurd. Your job is to develop a passion. Your job is to decide what you want your why to be. When you look inward, you will see only flickers of interest. And your job is to take that flicker of interest and go down a path of gaining mastery. And as you get so good, they can't ignore you. In that process of back-breaking, really boring work, you're gonna find out whether you love it enough to push through all of that. Whether you have the grit to see it through.
My grandma, I went to go see my grandma, she's 91. I was like, man, I remember my grandma was in her 40s. My grandma 91. Now listen to me very closely. I'm not the don't say no to drugs dude, right? You make whatever decisions you want. You do whatever you want to do. I'm here to tell you though, that you're not gonna live forever. And so you have to decide then, if you're not gonna be here forever, what are your 20s gonna look like? What are your 30s gonna look like? What are your 40s gonna look like? Now I'm from Chicago originally, grew up in Detroit. 90% of my boys are not living the way I'm living. They ain't no different than me. As a matter of fact, Bob should doggone be speaking to y'all right now, not me. Bob was the one that got me off the streets of Detroit. I was homeless. Like for real, for real. I love rappers because rappers be in the studio doing that stuff. I love it. Like making up stuff. I was homeless, like in abandoned buildings homeless. Eating out of trash cans homeless. Bob took me off the streets, brought me to church. I gave my life to Christ. That pastor helped me to get my GED. Then they sent me to college.
And so I want to talk to you about some tips and strategies today to begin to think about time and utilize time differently. So let's start out. The first thing I want to tell you about people who win, who max out, they are in a much bigger hurry than the people who are average. And I'm not kidding you when I say this. They're in a bigger hurry to get to their destination, to get to their outcome. Their pace is faster. They walk faster. They talk faster. And their expectation when they're going to arrive at their destination is sooner. This may seem like a very small, subtle thing, but I want you to evaluate how big of a hurry are you in? Because there's something to be said about how close you think you are to a goal and how fast you will run to get to the finish line. Let me give you an example of that. If you and I started out right now and we had a 26-mile marathon to run, right? In our minds, it was 26 miles. We were going to race each other. We would pace ourselves at a certain speed in order to maintain that speed because of the duration of the run.
I know I can do more than what I've been doing. I know there's some great music that I have within me that I haven't brought out here yet. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. If you're on a job, 85% they say of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment. You're miserable, you hate to go there, you're depressed just thinking about it.
So if it was a marathon, we'd jog, wouldn't we, pretty slowly. You certainly wouldn't sprint 26 miles. And so because the destination, because the finish line is so far away, our pace or our hurry is limited based on how far away we think we are or when we'll arrive there. But if you and I were to run a 100-yard dash, would the pace be the same? Because the finish line is so much closer, we'd run full speed from the minute we took off, wouldn't we? Because of the proximity of how close the finish line is. The people that win in life don't necessarily have more vision than you. See, it's not a lack of vision always that means that you are going to lose. It's a lack of a type of vision, which is depth perception. You think you're further away from the outcome, and so you pace yourself like it, and you jog all the time throughout your life. The people that win may have a bigger vision, but they have accurate depth perception. They understand how close their goals are, how close their outcome is, and they're constantly in a sprint to get there throughout their day. That means consequently, they get started earlier and they finish later.
You sing the Thank God It's Friday song every week. If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. See, but you know what most people will do? Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. See, they know this. They're familiar with this. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there's certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. So as you look at your life, you're saying, I'm not getting what I want. As you begin to look toward the future, begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you've got that in you.
They get up earlier. Throughout the day, they're in a bigger hurry to get to the places they need to be because the finish line in their mind is so much closer. I cannot emphasize this enough to you, is just the pace and the way time shrinks for elite performers compared to the average. I'm telling you, the average performer can say the same things, read the same books, have the same schedule, yet the person who is in a bigger hurry throughout the day ends up winning the day, winning the week, winning the month, winning the year, and winning the life. And so please evaluate your pace. You should be in a so much bigger hurry than everybody around you. You almost have people telling you to slow down a little bit. So that's number one, is you've got to be in a bigger hurry. The second thing is the way we begin our day. I'm going to tell you right now, either you're going to control your time or your time's going to control you. Either you are going to dictate the terms of your life or you're going to be somebody who reacts and responds throughout their life.
Took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree because I played in school. I was in college, couldn't hardly read or write. But Bob should be here right now. But Bob is not here because me and Bob, at 20, we start making different decisions.
You got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side.
And when you find the one that you do, that'll be your why.
How you frame these opportunities, which you will see I use that word very intentionally, how you frame these opportunities is going to determine how you react to it at a physiological level.
So here's what I want to tell you. I don't care what you say you want to be, what you want to do. And here's the crazy part about y'all age. Man, I'm so proud of y'all, like y'all the 1%ers. But the crazy part about it is, just because you got here don't mean your 30's gonna look like this. And your 40's gonna look like this. And I wish if you played in the NFL, I wish that whatever your best day was, your best year was, you could just like capture that and that'd be the rest of your life. But unfortunately, a lot of dudes made a lot of money broke. And I'm gonna just say MC Hammer, that's my dude. $30 million wasted in. How you lose 30 mil in 1 year? Easy. You got the same mentality, like you hanging out with your homies and you trying to do right by your homies, but your homies eating up stuff, doing stuff, and now you broke, and now you can't. Here's the crazy part about it. Most of the people who lost 30 million in 1 year, you don't get another year to make another 30 mil.
This device right here can both speed up time in your life or it can slow it down. It's not always a speed tool. So one of the tips that I've covered before, but not enough people implement, that I promise you is a quality of max out performers that relates to their time, is they control it. They do not react and respond. They dictate the terms of their life most of the time. And that means this: when you wake up in the morning, the greatest thing you could do for yourself is not touch or look at this device for 30 minutes to an hour after awakening. So that when you wake up, you take control of your time. You control the time. You control the beginning of the day. You get clear, you meditate, you pray, you stretch, you think, you go through a gratitude exercise. You control the first 30 minutes of your day. It sets a tone that I'm in charge of my time, not what enters this. If the first thing you do is grab this now dictates the term of your day. This controls my day.
Like, bro, wouldn't it be sweet if you had 30 and you wasted it, and then you get a second shot and you get another 30? But for most people, that won't happen. So I'm not here to tell you anything but this. What do you want your life to look like? And many of you probably never even thought about it, but the cool thing about it, you got a phenomenal start, right? So I'm gonna walk through these slides real quick. I'm geeked, right? I'm geeked. Why? Because I speak for a living. I'm geeked, y'all. I speak for a living. So what does that mean? This don't get old. I got something that I could, if I die at 70, I can continue to do this. At 80, I can continue to do this. The problem with football, you can't do this at 50. You can't play this game at 50. I don't care how sweet you are. The best of the best, I felt like, the best of the best was MJ. And MJ had to retire. And as a matter of fact, when MJ was with the Wizards, he didn't look like the bull MJ. He was just doing that because he was trying to own a team so he could make some money in basketball.
What hits this, what email, what text, what call hits this, what Instagram post hit this, this controls me. It controls my time. But if you can stay away from it for the first 30 minutes to an hour, you send a message to your brain, to yourself, that you control time, that this day is on your terms. And again, you stack up a day, a week, a month, a year, 5 years of a lifetime of you controlling and dictating the terms of your life for just the first 30 minutes to an hour every day. It will revolutionize your life. It'll be very difficult to do for the first 30 days, but after 30 days, you'll never have the desire to do it again. You'll completely flip your life around. I'm not suggesting that all max out performers dictate every term. Of course I respond. Of course I react throughout my day. It's not the syntax or context of my day. I control my day. There are things throughout every day where we react and respond. There are conversations where someone says something to us. We clearly react and respond. But I'm the assessor of my life, not the assessee. I assess my life. I dictate the terms of my life.
That life is on your side. Now, will it be turbulent? Yes. Will it be easy? No, no. Will you have some opposition? Yes. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. Will I get hurt? Yes. Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Let me tell you something. It's too much pain to duck. Pain is everywhere. You can hide under here. It will come where you are. It's everywhere. Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. You can't duck it. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection.
I'm not being assessed and I'm not being dictated to by other people all the time in my life. That's a huge separator in how people look at time for max out performers. The third thing is this: why is a day only 24 hours? I mean, if the average people in the world, or the majority of people in the world, have a 24-hour day, why does that have to apply to you? Many years ago, I discovered, have you ever had a day where in 4 or 5 hours, you got more in the first 4 or 5 hours done or accomplished in your day than you had in a normal day? You ever have a 4 or 5 hour window, a 6 hour window, like you go, I've got so much done in these 6 hours, it's more than I get done in an average day. And what I found out was max out elite performers, people that perform at the highest level, they get more done in a 6 hour window than most people get done in a day. And here's why. Most people measure a day by 24 hours. So I started to think, I was young in business. I was in my early 20s. And one of the things that was held against me by other people is you're too young to win. You don't have enough experience.
Okay, your thoughts, great Shakespeare quote, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So trying these things that are way out of your comfort zone and failing isn't bad. You feeling like failing makes you a loser, or that you're never going to get these opportunities again, or whatever it is that you think about it, that's the thing that makes it bad. So if you reframe it and say, I move towards what scares me, man, that's part of my identity, because I know I'm going to grow. And quite frankly, because I insist that I not be weak. I insist that I not be emotionally weak or that I allow myself to back down from a challenge. Okay, it doesn't mean that I don't feel fear. I do feel fear.
The pain of defeat, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of losing, the pain of failure, the pain of being criticized, the pain of not being liked, the pain. That's called life. Life is full of pain. It's everywhere. But guess what? There's no gain without pain. Because it's the pain of regret that you experience. If I had it to do over again, that's a pain. Don't you know that's when you know? I was in a seminar once and this lady stood up. If I had my life to live over again, she talked about all of the things that she would do. And you can feel the pain of regret in her voice. Pain of regret. She still experienced pain. She was trying not to experience the pain of defeat, the pain of disappointment, the pain of loss.
But it means that I display courage, right? That is how you have to think about it. And as you begin to reframe that, like, yo, I'm the type of person that rises up in the face of fear. I move towards fear. It isn't that I don't feel it. It's that I know I'm going to learn. Even if I fail, I'm going to improve and get better. And I would just find a way to make this a positive experience for myself. And when you begin to reframe things like that, when you begin to change your self-narrative, then you begin to have a very different emotional reaction to this thing. But you have to take control of that self-narrative. You have to take control of your framing, how you think about this thing. What does it mean? What does success mean to you? What does failure mean to you? Everything's like reading a book. I'm going to learn something from this. I'm going to do something. And if I fail, I'm going to get a ton of information. I'm going to get better, right? And if you know about yourself that you're going to show up and you're going to improve, then there should be no fear of failure. It doesn't mean that's your desired outcome. It just means you're not afraid of it because you're going to get better. So don't view yourself through the lens of a moment.
You just haven't had enough days of experience of your life, enough days in business to win. I thought, well, how can I fix that? And here's how you can fix that. And I've adopted this now for almost 30 years.
The pain of lack of support. And she still experienced pain. It was right there. We can't get around it. Most people are governed by their habits, their fears, and the opinions of others.
But I know, cool, I'm going to learn from this. And that knowledge stacks. Your beliefs matter. And I have a belief, based on reality, by the way, that knowledge stacks.
I want the average people I compete against to think they have a 24-hour day. My days are 6 days long. So I want to teach you the concept of running mini days. My first day is from 6 a.m. to noon every day. That's a full day for me. So I try to get done a full day's work from 6 a.m. to noon because I no longer have a 24-hour day in my life. I have a 6-hour day. And so a day to me is that measure of time. It altered the complete direction of my life. It transformed who I am. So now from 6 a.m. to noon is a day. That's my first day every single week, 6 a.m. to noon, Monday morning. And what happens in that 6 a.m. to noon, there's a mental thing we have. I have a whole day to get all these things done. And so we stack and dictate and schedule our day over that 24-hour window of time.
A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them, the low expectations. Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, somebody they believed in, somebody that they loved, someone they trusted said, you can't do that. And they accepted that.
You'd be surprised if you shrunk the day to 6 hours, you can get the same things done in those 6 hours you used to get done in 24. From noon to 6 p.m. is my second day. And in that second day, I fill that up with a full day's worth of fun, memories, meetings, phone calls, you name it, meetings with my relationships in my life. In that 6-hour day, I pack out another day. From noon to 6 p.m., I fill that day up. And my third day is 6 p.m. to midnight. And in that 6 p.m. to midnight, same thing. My relationships, my meetings, my phone calls, my emails, the work I do is a third day. And so what happened was when I was in my early 20s, I went from having 3 days in the same window of time when the average person had 1. And I started to accomplish triple what the average person was accomplishing. Now, once again, you stack up 3 days in 24 hours over a week, a month, a year. In just 1 year, I end up with over 1,000 days, and I'm competing against people who only have 365.
As you look at your life, ask yourself the question, what would your life be like? What would your life look like if you decided not to care what people thought of you? What would your life be like if you decided to give up some of your fears? What would your life be like if you decided to become courageous? What would your life be like? If you decided to act on your dream, if you did what you felt in your heart. You know what courageous means? Tom Ruskin and Randy Reed said, they said that courage comes from a French word which means of the heart. But how does it feel to you? He says it's courage, you know, it takes courage to live. Says most people go through life not allowing themselves to step out because they don't want to let go.
Think about the mind-blowing difference could be in your life if you ran many days the rest of your life. I'm telling you right now that my days are 6 hours long. You'll be, the amount of work you could get done, the amount of compounding that'll take place in your life, it's gonna blow your mind. When you start looking at your schedule, day 1 is 6 a.m. to noon. Day 2 is noon to 6 p.m. Day 3 is 6 p.m. to midnight. Your whole existence is going to change. It'll be kind of fun in the beginning. You'll mess it up, but you stack up a week or 2 and you do that for a month. Imagine that in 1 month getting 90 days. Think about what would happen in your life if in a month you had 90 days and the rest of the world, the average in your life. Imagine that for a second. The rest of the world only had 30. And you stack that up over a year or 3 years. How different would your life be? And I'm telling you, I'm an example of how different your life would be. I'm an example of what that productivity and compounding in your life can look like.
So as I go out and fail, try things, learn, grow, I'm actually able to stack that knowledge and information because it all has utility. I'm improving my skill set, and now I'm able to do bigger and better things the next time. So when you think about making the most of this time, if you allow yourself to get overwhelmed by the uncertainty, then you're going to be paralyzed and you're not going to make good use of this time. Versus if you know what you want to be accomplishing, you know exactly what your goal is. You know, hey, 6 months from now, I want to be doing this. A year from now, I want to be doing this, whatever. You can't control what happens to the world. So literally shut that out of your mind. Build the skill set that you want to build that allows you to do the things you want to do at the end of 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever that is, however far out that you're looking. Skills have utility.
So I'm telling you, this ain't forever. And when you're doing something that don't last forever, you got to treat it differently. This don't last for 20. This don't last for 30. This might not even last for 10 for some of you. So you got to take full advantage of every single Sunday. And you only get 16. Oh, I'm sorry, they added one. I apologize. I'm old school, like Billy Sims, old school. We're 16. So write down right now for me real quick. And maybe you're not going to answer this right now. But what do I want to be doing in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, my 60s? And what you do today, every day when you walk in this joint, what you do today is going to determine how you live at 30, at 40, at 50, at 60. And y'all got a head start, man. Woo. My mom had to work at 4. She got pregnant with me at 17 years old. Mom had to work at 4 for 30 years. She probably ain't make what some of y'all gonna make in 2 or 3 years in 30 years.
Decide what that skill set is, and now we're going to spend the time building that because that is something that we can control. Any obstacle can be overcome, breaking things down into their constituent parts. That is the key. Whatever problem it is you're facing, if you stop and really break it down into things that you can execute on day by day and stop thinking about the end goal, which can often be overwhelming, and just look at what piece you can deal with right now today. And remember that action cures all. So when you're feeling paralyzed by indecision, when you've got so much anxiety, instead of giving into those feelings, you want to take some immediate action right now today to making progress towards your goal. So make sure you always know, I keep my important things list. Make sure you always know what you should be working on the moment that you have free time, and just chip away at it. And eventually, with enough anger, with enough energy and passion and just indomitable will, you can overcome any obstacle.
So I'm proud of you. Whatever you had to do in high school, whatever you had to do in college, you did what you had to do and you got to this level. All I'm asking you is set the standard. Set the standard, right? Set the standard. I'm not, listen to me. You a grown man. I would dare tell you to set the standard, but set one though. Set a standard. Well, Jamal, we just left from Dubai. They said, man, if you haven't been there, go. They set the standard, y'all. Like any place, let me tell you what I hate about Dubai. This is my second chance going. What I hate about Dubai is coming back to America. You go to Dubai and you come to the Four Seasons garbage. The Four Seasons look like doggone Holiday Inn Express. They got the 6 tallest buildings there. Everything they do, like they pick you up in the 740. The taxi cab driver is picking you up in the 745 Li.
If you had the goal of winning the Blue Belt Jiu-Jitsu Championships, and in order to win, you cheated?
Working really hard is what successful people do. And in this text, tweet, twerk world that you've grown up in, remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done.
Is life really that bad? Do you really think it's that tough? Life cannot apologize.
Your competitors aren't broadcasting their next move. You don't know what the market's gonna do. You can't be certain about the next trend or the next downturn or the next bubble that's gonna burst. You can't know those things. So you have to do the same thing. You have to control what you can control, which is you. You gotta gather intelligence. You gotta analyze the metrics that you can track. You gotta train yourself and your team to be prepared for both the known and also be prepared for the unknown. Figure out what the likely contingencies are and have some plans to execute if those contingencies occur. Maintain discipline as an organization so that you have the flexibility and the responsiveness to maneuver effectively and efficiently when the unpredictable actually happens. So instead of suffering and falling apart in the chaos, you can take advantage of it and win.
Remember that just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress. My mother told me, she said, yeah, because you can run in place all the time and never get anywhere. So continue to strive, continue to have goals, continue to progress. I don't care how much money you make, you can't take it with you. The Egyptians tried it. They got robbed. That's all they got.
And that's business, and life is the same. The enemy is not always clear in life. It can be hard to tell who's going to try and bring you down or what is going to bring you down. There's distractions. There are things out there that will do you harm that are so camouflaged you can't see them at all. There are deceitful people. There are accidents that can occur and diseases that take root, and there's bad luck, and there's Murphy's Law, and there's times when it seems that the whole world is against you. The whole world is the enemy.
You can't take it with you, and it's not how much you have. It's what you do with what you have. We all have different talents. Some of you will be doctors, some lawyers, some scientists, some educators, some nurses. The most selfish thing you can do in this world is help someone else. Why is it selfish? Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you, the good feeling that I get from helping others, nothing's better than that. Not jewelry, not big house I have, not the cars, but it's the joy. That's where the joy is, in helping others. That's where the success is. Finally, I pray that you put your slippers way under the bed tonight, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have to get on your knees to reach them.
And the same rules apply. Control what you can't control. You train hard, learn, maintain the unmitigated daily discipline in all things. Okay, so first of all, really obvious, your values and your goals should be aligned. They should not be adversarial. They shouldn't be counter to each other. And if you think about what your goals are, your goals should be set up in a way that they support your values and vice versa. That's just the way it is. So I'm not sure where this is going to be an issue. If you're setting up goals that are contrary to your values, you got some issues. Now,
Life will continue to go on. You just happen to be a part of it. But you only got so much time. So you can't waste it. You can't concern yourself about things that you have no control over. When it starts to get tough, you must get a little bit tougher. You must understand that you are not the only one in this world that's got a story to tell. There are people that are buried right now that are in the ground, in the graves. The graves have many stories to tell.
And one day I was talking with my buddy, and he just made me realize, like, what you went through just wasn't for you, right? Basically, like I was being selfish about my situation and my experience, right? He was like, you're going through it, you got through it, you're dealing with it, but that's not just for you. Like when we go through a situation and circumstance, it's easy to step back and think, man, I just went through this and it's just my experience. I firmly believe when we go through things, it's for us to deal with it, get over it, and reach back over the hill to help another person. And a lot of times, like you said, when you're trying to work through it, you think, man, how can I help somebody? And I'm trying to get through it myself, right? And that's a great perspective, right? But when you get through it, right, maybe you can't help them when you're in the midst of it because you're processing it. But when you get over the hill, I think it's important and I think it's vital that you reach back over the hill and help somebody that may be going through a similar situation, and you can share your values and principles with them, because that experience that we go through and we deal with, it's not just for us.
But you just don't hear them because the dead doesn't speak. You're not dead. You still have life. Your heart is still beating. And the journey must continue. Don't blame life because you fall down. Don't blame life because your best friend betrayed you. Don't blame life because that relationship didn't work out. Don't blame life because that job did not turn out. It is not life that's holding you back. You just gotta be a little bit tougher than your circumstances. Because the thing about life, it will always go on. It will always serve its purpose.
Empty the bucket, man, was this thing that I created just about emptying everything, right? Like everything you got, not living on reserve. For most people, man, you could be great, but you haven't even pulled a strip off to activate it, right? Like you can be great, but you're living on reserve, right? You didn't empty the bucket, right? You didn't give everything you had to every aspect of your life. Like for most people, they're great professionally, but they end up becoming a public success, and behind closed doors, they're private failure. Not because they don't have the talent or the skill set, they don't have the character, right? That they can apply it and be consistent in every aspect of their life and empty out everything they got to everything, right? Now, one would say, okay, well, when do you tone it back, right? You find pockets to turn it back, right? Of course, you don't just give everything you got all the time, right? You get to a point where you learn to be efficient and effective in every aspect of your life. And for most people, it's not a problem of skill set. It's a problem of character. And empty the bucket is having the right character to be consistent and empty out everything you got in every aspect of your life. I think the true measure of wealth is happiness, right? Like I really do. And that's not saying that I'm against money. I'm not against that at all.
Stop drowning and learn how to swim. You may have a great distance to get to shore. The water may be a little rough. The tide could be coming in, but you got to keep on fighting.
If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward.
Because you gotta work hard, make your money to take care of your family, and be able to bless people. But I think it's a lot of people with so-called wealth, and they don't have joy and they don't have happiness, right? And I feel like joy, happiness, and peace is the most important things we can possess, right? And for most people, their material possessions, they feel are the most important. For me, when you got joy, when you got peace, when you got happiness, I think that's true wealth, because you can't put a price on that. Like for me, people can't understand. A guy asked me just yesterday, what do you think about stem cell? Why don't you go over to London or one of these places somewhere and try to get stem cell for your arm? And I was like, I got peace. And he's like, what does that mean? I was like, I'm good with my situation.
You got to keep on swimming. You may go under a few times, but take a deep breath. Let it out. But you keep on swimming. You're not out of the fight. You continue to move on. There's gonna be a lot of things swimming beneath your feet. There's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna try to drag you down. But you're not in the business to drown. You're in the business to live. Do not starve yourself from the beauty of life. You must have the ability to nourish your mind.
Right? Like I'm wealthy because of that. I got something that you can't put a price on, right? You can't price out my joy. You can't price out my happiness. You can't price out my peace. Now, if I measure wealth by money, money is a number. Numbers never end, right? So you never catch it. Numbers never stop. If your happiness is predicated upon a number, if you're being wealthy, it's predicated upon a number, you'll get it. Then it's like, okay, I gotta set it a little bit higher. The number will never end. And so therefore, you'll never be wealthy enough. The greatest thing that I could ever give to my children also is not something that I can give to them. It's the things that I will leave in them. The principles, the values, the guide, how you treat people, how you live your life, how you make decisions and choices.
You must have the ability to nourish your soul. Do what is necessary and just live. Do not trouble yourself with all of these things that surround you, because as long as you are alive today, you will meet many challenges. There are going to be times that you're going to want to give up, but you don't have the permission to do so. You must carry on the good fight. What great is in you? If you don't believe of your greatness that you possess inside, how can you hold on to who you really are inside if you let everything else tell you that you're not worthy?
Like you claim someone was reaping your leg and you said, oh, you tap and you get the guy to qualified and you win. That could be an example, right?
Yeah.
Now, do I support that? No. You know, that's wrong. You going against the values of martial arts to do that. So you didn't win anything and you didn't achieve your goal because you weren't actually the best. So I say no on that one. Another one, let's say you wanted to make a certain level of profit at your company. So you cheated a little bit on the quality of the manufacturing and you sold items that weren't quite reliable. Do I support that? No, right? And why? Let me tell you why. Because your goal is not even aligned with your goal itself. Because when you start making substandard manufactured items, what's going to happen in the long run? People are going to say, hey, we don't like these. Yeah. We're not going to buy them anymore. So you didn't win. You might have won in the short term, but you didn't win. And again, you're going against your value. You should have values that you don't want to, take profit over making good product. And again, in the long run, that value is going to cost you, right? People aren't going to want to buy your product anymore.
And while you're down there, say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, and anything you want, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back.
I need a mission. We all need a mission. That's what life should be, is a mission. That's what gives your life purpose and focus and drive and ultimately satisfaction. Now, that mission can be the job you work at. It can be providing for your family, or it can be getting better at jiu-jitsu, or stronger at Olympic lifting, or starting a business that you want to grow and build and take over the world. And sometimes people ask me what to do if they don't know what their mission is or what their mission should be. And I tell them, if they're in that situation, to go help someone.
Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey.
Go help someone else. Make that your mission. Because that will make you better. And it'll make the world better. And eventually from that, you'll see what your mission is. Try to imagine the way other people see you and what other people are thinking of you. And one place where this happens, and it definitely happened to me, is when I started getting put in charge of things. I started thinking about other people's perspectives. What are they seeing? If you're in charge, then what do your subordinates see you do? What do your subordinates hear you say? What kind of representation are they receiving? And if you work for someone else, it's the same questions. What does the boss see me do? What does the boss hear me say? What kind of representation am I making of myself to my boss?